Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, Season 9, Episode 62. That's Dave Bryan. I am Alex Kozora from SteelersDepot.com. And Dave, I know I have not been as amped up or excited during, before, after a game at all this season like I have the Patriots. And for good reason. What a victory. Steelers, 17-10. They slay the dragon.
Yeah, I was more excited afterwards, I think. I mean, obviously the build-up, with it being the Patriots and, afternoon game, kind of a build-up anyway to it. But, let's be honest here. Both of us picked New England to win this game and to do it by scoring a lot more than 10 points. And look, I mean, say what you will. I mean, look, there's a lot that the Steelers didn't do good in this game, and there's a lot that the Patriots didn't do good in this game to help in that. But I mean, the final score is the final score, and they stopped a final drive that I thought for sure once the Patriots got down into the red zone there, I thought, oh man, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this movie. Telling the stewardess, can I get a parachute? Get out of here. But they got the job done. When you consider all that transpired in the NFL on Sunday, with the Ravens winning, with the Colts winning, with the Titans winning, I mean, that really became by kickoff time, a must-win game, if you will, for the Steelers, and they won it. And now, it's another win, another week off the schedule, and now you have 2 weeks remaining, and you got to feel a little bit better about yourself if you're a Steelers fan this morning.
Definitely, because you're right, and I'm sure most people realize that and saw the stat, but had the Steelers lost that game, not only would they have fallen in the second place in the AFC North, they would have fallen to the 8th seed in the entire playoff race, would have fallen out of the playoffs altogether. So, critical game, top to bottom. If you had to put, and I know there were a million factors for why the Steelers won this game, but if you had to put one reason above all else, why would you say the Steelers knocked off the Patriots?
Pressuring the quarterback.
Yeah. They didn't sack Brady a lot, but they sure got to him a good amount of times.
That, and I mean, look, I don't want to taint this win, because anytime you beat the Patriots, even though, like we said, this isn't a juggernaut Patriots team of the last however many seasons you want to say, they did do their part in committing 14 penalties in total, and how many key drops did they have in that game? 3, maybe 4.
Yep.
As well. So, you talk about, some Steelers games in the past where Mike Tomlin comes in and he says, look, we didn't execute. The Patriots, there can be a lot of finger pointing going on with what they didn't do in that game. And obviously, look, I mean, you can go to every game and you can circle a lot of stuff for both sides, but I think that the penalties and those drops played a key part of it. But on the same on the other side of the ledger, the Steelers did make some good plays defensively when they had to. And, I mean, look, that interception by Joe Hayden, that was a horrible, horrible decision by Tom Brady. He said as much during his post-game press conference that he was trying to throw that thing away. And that's no easy play for Joe Hayden with two guys bearing down on him trying to knock him out of bounds on top of it. So, that's just a big play on Joe. And make no mistake, Joe Hayden, I didn't think overall had a great game. Maybe you'll feel a little bit different than I did. In fact, I'm willing to bet PFF, as far as cornerbacks go, probably receives the lowest grade, of the ones that saw considerable playing time there. But he made a play when it mattered most, and it was a big one. And the Steelers were down 2-0 in the turnover column at the time. There, and you're wondering, man, it's hard enough to beat the Patriots straight up when it's even turnovers and you're down 2-0. Somebody's got to make a play here, and he did. So, but I think one of the biggest things was They concentrated on, and Dan Orlovsky, former NFL quarterback, has a quick little video breakdown of this as well too. I think they did a great job of making sure to kind of double Gronkowski and Julian Edelman as much as they could in the game and pay those guys and bracket those guys and pay them the most attention and force someone else to beat them. And I think just enough pressure at the right times really made a difference in this thing.
Agreed, and I think obviously the Hayden interception was massively critical, and we've all been waiting for a turnover, and the team's talked about it, we've talked about it, everyone's talked about it around the TV, that you had to get a turnover, you had to make a big play in a big moment, and Hayden did, and that kind of leads me to my thought of what the biggest reason for the victory was, and that was red zone defense. New England 0-3 in the red zone. I'm not sure when the last time they went 0-3 in the red zone was. You get the big stop on basically the last play of the game, the 4th and 15. That ended things. You get the Hayden interception, and I can't quite remember what the other one was. I think it led to the Gostowski field goal. So getting those red zone stops, forcing New England to settle for field goals or not getting any points out of it all. I guess they only scored once on their 3 red zone possessions. That was unexpected. And for this defense as a whole, since after the Hogan touchdown, to allow just 3 points, given the way they've played and given the potency of this Patriots offense, nothing short of remarkable. Yes, they got a couple of breaks with drops and things like that, and penalties certainly played a factor, but hats off to the players and Keith Butler for a good game plan, because they did not make life easy on the Patriots at all.
Absolutely. On the flip side, you wish that the Steelers offense could have done more, especially in the second half, although the way the Patriots were able to run in the second half and kind of control the clock and have a couple of longer drives there, the Steelers technically only had the football 3 possessions in the second half. The 4th possession was, of course, the final kneel down there. So they should have had 3 points on one of those drives, right? Mm-hmm. If you convert on that third down pass to Juju, nice play by the who was that? No name.
J.C. Jackson, the rookie.
Yeah, the rookie. Great play on his part there. If he doesn't break that up, then the game's probably over at that point. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, the only thing, offensively, the Steelers did a lot of great things offensively that we're about to talk about, other than score points. And in the past, they've moved the football quite a bit, and they did for the most part, against the Patriots. And normally those points have been following, but they didn't in this game. So that was a disappointing, because there were several instances in that second half where you just felt, man, if they just keep the foot on the accelerator here, boys. One more touchdown, that ought to do it. But they never could get it, and that made for another dramatic finish there.
It did, yeah. Certainly some stuff left on the table for the offense. But overall, I think I have to be happy. I don't think I've ever been happier with an offensive performance in a game where they've only scored 17 points. I'll put it that way. The offensive line, hats off to them. I think it has to start with the Steelers' offensive line. Villanueva, Foster, Pouncey, DeCastro, Filer. I know everyone knows those names, but I want to stress who those guys are, because they were so important, opening up holes for Jaylen Samuels, team rushed over, 6 yards of carry. Ben at times having all day back there to extend the play, with the 3rd and 9 in the 4th quarter to Jaylen Samuels, having all day to extend the pocket, extend out of the pocket and make the play and move the sticks. They were fantastic. I thought Randy Fichtner had a really strong game. I loved the game plan early, kind of doing what the Patriots have always done to the Steelers, coming out and empty, spreading the football around, marching down the field. So yes, there are some things the offense has to clean up and has to be able to finish, but I thought the line and Fichtner had their best games of the season.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it from the end zone view on some of those runs, because it looked like there were some pretty good size holes, something that we did not see the week before against a poor Raiders run defense. We knew coming into this game that the Patriots run defense, not great, especially 2 runs, I think, to the left side of the offense, which would be the right side of the Patriots defense. We saw that on tape. We also saw that they could be gashed off of right tackle, off right end, off some of those cracks, those tight end cracks. But I don't think we saw the Steelers run any of that. Maybe I missed it, but it will definitely be fun to look at the end zone view from that to see how big those holes were. And Jaylen Samuels, look, we said the week before against the Raiders, great job in the passing game, really good job yards after the catch. That was the most impressive thing about his performance against the Raiders. The thing we still were wondering about is, can he function more as a true ball carrier in the backfield, something he didn't do a lot at North Carolina State. And he really took a step in the right direction, obviously, against the Patriots with, several of those, what do they call those? Those power tosses inside or whatnot. But yeah, he ran that a couple times for some good yards, got to the edge for some good yards. And look, like I said all week, and I've been banging the hammer on Twitter as well too, it's not how many times a team runs. It's really not. It's about how effective you can be when you run. People want to continue to say the Steelers aren't running enough. That's not the issue here. It's how effective you run. I mean, look, if you compare to the first half of yesterday's game to the first half of the Raiders game, they ran roughly right at the same percentage amount of times, which wasn't much. I think 9 and 10 overall, with the 10 being against the Raiders and a 9 against the Patriots. The difference was you had more successful runs in there. And then once you have the lead late in the game in the fourth quarter like they did, well, obviously you're going to run more, and that's going to help balance out your run pass totals the way it did. So running effective, give me running effectively more than running more.
Yep. And they certainly were effective, and Samuels had a great game. They did do some of the counter toss stuff that you mentioned, but I thought overall they schemed it in a way for Samuels to get downhill, and I thought he was more decisive. I thought his vision was better, and I thought he was a more physical player, which is what Fietner talked about during the week of sometimes you just got to put your foot in the ground, be physical, and kind of play to your size, and I thought you got that from Samuels. So really impressive performance from him. Pass protection, I think he did blow the 1 sack, but overall have to be happy with him, and as Tomlin said, have to be happy with the young guys, Samuels, Washington, 2 guys that have been relatively quiet this year, stepping up, making big plays.
Yeah, I'm not going to exonerate him for that blown sure. Pass protection there, but that was nicely timed. For sure, and I mean, really got up in that gap in a hurry there. So that's another thing that we'll get a better look at. From the end zone view there. It's little things. Here's the thing. If you're a Steelers fan right now, and I think we got a couple or an email or two, something along the lines of, or a tweet along the lines of, look, does this show how fungible in so many? I don't think they've used the word fungible, but does this show how fungible the running back position can be or is in the NFL? To a degree, yes. But here's the thing, in somewhat of a defense of Le'Veon Bell, is the fact that he is a great all-around back, not only as a ball carrier, not only as a guy out of backfield, but a guy as a pass protector too. So when you add all those things together, and that he never has to come off the field in any situation, that helps put his value over your next guy there. Now is it 10, is it 12 million more, 14 million more a season worth? Having 2 guys be able to do the job of one, maybe, probably not. But one good thing right now is the fact that the Steelers appear to have 2 competent running backs in both James Conner and Jaylen Samuels that can do similar things. Look, we saw Jaylen Samuels split out wide last night too. That was another good thing to see him make another couple plays out that way. And now look, probably going to get Connor back, or hopefully going to get Connor back for the game against the Saints. And wanted to follow up one more thing on what you said there as far as the game plan goes. I'm with you. And that's another thing why you're not seeing or didn't see a lot of runs early in that game is because they went empty quite a bit more. And make no mistake about it, the Patriots are very good schematically defensively on trying to take away things from you. And when you go up into an empty and put everybody out there, that makes them commit earlier to what they're going to do defensively. So there's less kind of guessing game on Roethlisberger's end, as far as what might be coming coverage-wise when you put all of it out there like that.
Yeah, if you're an empty, you have to declare your blitzes, you have to declare your coverage, and often what they did on that first drive and a little bit throughout the rest of the game was have AB and Juju on the same side. So you're rolling all the coverage. Everybody's going to AB and Juju. You know they're getting doubled. That left the backside open. So you look at the Vance McDonald touchdown on 3rd and goal, out of empty. They're working to the 2-receiver side. I think it was Vance and maybe Jaylen Samuels, but it wasn't AB or Juju, so you're getting single coverage on that side. And McDonald runs that little pivot route, little return route against Patrick Chung, who's mainly a box guy and a run stuffer guy, not a cover guy, and you get the touchdown. So just, again, giving the Patriots a taste of their own medicine. I thought it was a really good game plan, knowing the tendencies of what New England does, of how they're going to roll coverage and bracket AB and Juju, and to trust other guys to win too, saying, we know AB's getting doubled. We're going to count on Eli Rogers and Jaylen Samuels and James Washington and Vance McDonald to make those plays, and they did. So, that's the game plan from Fichtner, trusting the guys that aren't the superstars to make big plays, and they came through.
And that's a little bit, the difference I think in this game was, you relied more on your on your auxiliary type players like that, and that's one thing the Patriots weren't able to do in this game either. The Steelers defense gave them opportunities to let other guys make plays. Where was James White in their
That's a great point.
Game plan? Where, although Hogan burned them early, and we're going to break that down here in a little bit. Where was he more in this game? White is a guy that tremendous out of the backfield. Can run too, so you can do a lot of different things with him. Why wasn't maybe Devlin or Burkhead used more out of the backfield as well too? So the Patriots didn't do when the Steelers made it obvious that their game plan was to take away Edelman, or at least not let Edelman and Gronk kill them for the big plays. And heck, Gronk, when did Gronk get his first reception?
Second half.
Yeah, sometime later on in the second half there. They had no answer of trying to get the ball in the hands of their auxiliary players, whereas the Steelers were able to get plays from the Samuels, the James Washingtons, the Eli Rogers. Good to see him back. You want to talk about a little bit of a surprise maybe heading into the weekend? Was and there was rumblings that might happen. Eli Rogers coming off the reserve PUP, and once that happened, the easy guess was that Ryan Switzer had showed up questionable on the injury report, on Friday with an ankle injury. Maybe he's going to be the one down, or if not, then James Washington will be the easy one to make inactive. Surely they're not going to dress all 6 receivers, and they did. And kudos to them, because I think that was the one pregame surprise that we got, was that Brian Allen was effectively the questionable 7th inactive player in that game there. So let's talk quickly about James Washington here. It's the stuff we've seen on tape at Oklahoma State and during the preseason, and now I realize it's just one game, it's just 3 catches, but those 3 catches are exactly the type of catches that he made over the course of 4 seasons at Oklahoma State that wound up getting him drafted in the 2nd round, and now you just hope that's the turning point.
You do, but that's why I push back on other people that called him a bust and Limas Sweet or Limas Washington, whatever cute name people came up with, because this guy has really good hands, and you saw that on display really on all 3 of his catches, but certainly the 32-yarder down the right sideline, the combative catch, going up high point in the football and securing it. So that's what we've seen from James Washington. if you remember back to the preseason, that's what we saw from him then. If you attended really any practice at training camp after the first couple, that's what you saw on a daily basis from James Washington. So yes, it is just one game. There's no guarantee of that success going forward. A lot of receivers now in the mix with Eli returning, obviously, but that's why Washington got drafted. Those are the plays we knew he was capable of making, and it was great for him to come through. And how about just the toughness, the mental toughness to overcome a tough season, to be on this big stage all week, everyone talking about basically season on the line. This is it. Everyone's got to step up. It's win or go home. Not necessarily quite in those terms, but pretty close to it. And for a rookie to step up like that, kudos to him. It showed a lot of mental toughness and some confidence going forward.
And then, 2 plays after that, big play down the right sideline on a combative catch there. And let's face it, that's not an easy catch to make, but it's the type of catch that he made during his career at Oklahoma State. Well, then they hit him on a short curl route, and he breaks a tackle for another explosive play there. So, that's a little microcosm. Like I said, it's only 3 catches. Yeah, we're not going to put him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame just yet, but
we're not. I was getting the gold jacket.
No, but that's the stuff that I watched every target that he had, and that's why it's been a bit of a head scratcher of why haven't we kind of seen that stuff up until now? But we have seen it now, and hopefully he can build on that going forward. And if he can, especially in these final few games, I mean, if that's another weapon, and he's going to get a ton of single coverage, going forward here, you can really make some defenses pay the way they're treating Juju and Antonio Brown right now. And you got guys like Switzer, you got guys like Eli, you got guys like Vance McDonald, you got both these running backs you can use out of the backfield. It's still reason to be excited about the Steelers' defense as this thing, or offense as this thing winds down there. So good contributions by 2 guys from the 2018 draft class.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom will talk about the young guys stepping up. Where do you want to go from here, Dave? Is there anything else in particular you wanted to talk about, or do you kind of want to restack this game and go from the top and recap the whole thing?
Yeah, let's start at the top there.
Okay, well, we talked about the first drive for Pittsburgh. Is there anything else you wanted to add about that? But Steelers march down the field, going empty, spreading things out. The 3rd and goal touchdown to Vance. Just a great opening drive.
Yeah, it was. It was good rhythm in that drive, mixing in a few runs early as well there. And then, the short pass. Was that the touchdown to Vance McDonald? That looked awfully familiar.
It looked like what Oakland did last week. Yeah.
Sure did. The joy about doing what we do, I think you agree with this, and having the time to do it, is you get a lot of these I've seen that before type stuff. And I'd give you a perfect example of this, and it happened in the game against against the Colts. The Colts yesterday against who they beat?
Dallas.
And it was just from the week before. You see the Colts beat or get a touchdown against the Texans in the same part of the field the week prior with that shopper combination. They ran the same play, against Dallas for a touchdown, and it's a good feeling because you can immediately go, man, I just saw that, and you can instantly go back to a certain place on tape. And you've obviously become very good at it as well too. But it is such a rewarding feeling when you see some of these things, and it helps in your breakdown of future things because you've seen that in the past there. But yeah, that looked awfully familiar to that touchdown that they gave up against the Raiders late there. So 7-0 Steelers.
Just real quick, it was funny to watch the Patriots run that little tunnel screen that the Steelers stole from them, and the Steelers to be able to stop it twice, and just because I see it all the time, because they took it from New England, and now they can stop it against them. So it is funny to kind of see how copycat league works and how everything comes together. But yeah,
and I think what a lot of people are going to see, especially in this podcast and in these breakdowns, is look, it's all about a lot of these same plays are being used. It's a copycat league around, and has been for a while. It's just how can you put lipstick on this thing and dress it up a little bit different and make it look like something else to accomplish the same thing. And that's the whole cat and mouse chess match of what we see on a week-to-week basis. So, there is a lot of new innovative stuff going on, obviously, in this air raid stuff and offenses and all like that. But the thing is we're as you get deeper into the season, you start seeing a lot of the same concepts, and it's not rocket surgery here. It's just all about trying to decipher what's going on around it.
Yep, I mean, it's week 15. No one's doing anything brand new. They've shown they've had their playbooks exhausted. It's just about execution and stopping it. So Steelers go up 7-0, and it was a great start, and then it goes away just like that on the Patriots' third play of the game. Brady to Hogan, 63 yards. I think Bill Barnwell had to tweet. It was the most wide-open receiver has been on a reception this year of like 19 yards of separation. And I know it's felt like it was on Artie Burns, and because Burns got benched after that, but I believe that who was at fault there was Sean Davis, not Artie Burns.
Yeah, I think he did a great job of breaking it down, too, because of the way they've covered this in the past. The old Yankee route combination with the post and the deep over. And instantly, I know you and I spent probably after I got the charting done, I think about 2 hours after the game going, we were trying to scour the tape to find past instances of this. I was able to find some instances, with the Saints, how they covered an Eagles version of that a few weeks ago and got an interception on that. And then obviously the Patriots. That's a shot play staple, kind of what the Patriots like to do. They like to run that fly, all that window dressing behind it with the play action and the fake jet fly sweep behind it, all like that to freeze the linebackers. And they had just run that a couple of weeks prior against the Jets and completed one to Hogan, but the Jets covered it a little bit differently. But I'll let you take it from here. The Steelers really in the past against this same type of route concept have really done more of a cut and replace.
Yeah, and I would really advise anybody to read the article on Steelers Depot because it is going to be tougher to explain it, audibly than it is going to be with the GIFs and stuff we have in the article. But basically what happens is in this situation with that post and the over, the safety's supposed to, like you said, cut the over route and replace his assignment with the cornerback. So the cornerback becomes the deep safety. He's going to bracket the post, and the safety's going to take the over route. On this play, Burns is carrying the post. Hayden's passing the over route off to Davis. Davis doesn't take it. He takes the post as well. That's how you get three guys on Josh Gordon and Chris Hogan wide open. So it was a little bit different because the way the post ran, the depth, was a little different than we've seen in the past. But the Steelers have adjusted to this concept because it's hurt them in the past when they played straight cover 3 and the over route has flooded zone coverage and it's created big plays off of that. So they've changed their coverage and they've changed the assignments of the corner and the safety, basically flipping assignments. Didn't happen there. That's why I believe it's on Davis and not Artie Burns or Joe Hayden.
And I think the thing that stuck out to me, the deeper that I got into analyzing that play, was just how deep the mesh point was on that route combination there. I mean, they are literally almost clacking heels at about 20 yards downfield, talking about Hogan and Gordon, and that's not an excuse, but I mean that really stresses Davis at that point because it almost looks like double post. I mean, it looks like someone maybe run a wrong route, as deep as that over was coming.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit different than we've seen in the past, but still got to be picked up. It's still, you can work over that, over the corner, over Artie Burns and Josh Gordon there. It's got to be made. It wasn't. And so, yes, it was weird for Burns to be benched after the fact. I mean, Tomlin, I think you wrote about it and have the quotes on it of why he went back to center spot for the rest of the game. I thought it was just the right move in general. I thought starting Burns was just kind of a bad, miscalculation. But just basing it off what the Steelers have done in the past, they've seen this concept a lot. Every team runs it. I believe it's on Sean Davis, not Artie Burns. I believe Tomlin's telling the truth when he absolved Burns from any fault on that play.
I do believe Tomlin's telling the truth that it wasn't Burns' fault. However, his answer to the question, he was asked if it was difficult for him to remove Burns from the game as quickly as he did. He said no, and that play wasn't even his fault. So I think I want to be clear in saying that play that we gave up was not his fault. I accept responsibility that it's our fault. I was too busy arguing a sequence of events prior to that, and let's just be clear, the sequence of events prior to that was Tom Brady catching catching the Steelers with, what was it, like 18 men on the field?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that many, but that's some hyperbole for you. But I accept responsibility that it's our fault. I was too busy arguing the sequence of events prior to that, really, to make sure we had proper communication in that sequence. So we essentially spotted them 7 points. No reservations about that. Already had a good week's prep. Just really felt good about 24 being Cody Sensabaugh and his ability to kind of do some of the veteran things that's going to be required when you're jockeying and playing playing a pace game versus a group like that. And so appreciate Artie's efforts. He had a good week's work. Just we got into the game, particularly after we gave up a play early. I thought 24 with his veteran experience would be a little more steady. Does not really the vote of confidence that you want a player to receive after him being said that wasn't his fault type thing. But I think it was obvious that the Patriots were going to try to, shot play as much as they could and test Artie, probably. And after a blown coverage there on probably bad communication between Sean Davis, and the cut and replace call, then Thomas said, just better take my chances to put Cody Sensabaugh out there.
Yeah, it was kind of funny to watch him, start the game with Burns and Sutton, and by game's end, it was basically Sensabaugh and Mike Hilton. Now, Sutton did rotate a little bit more. I mean, he was playing maybe a quarter or a third of the snaps, but, like I said, during the week, I just thought going with Burns and Sutton were the wrong decisions of the secondary changes I would make, and kind of felt like they admitted it halfway through and went with what they knew and the guys they trusted. But yeah, that's what happened on that play. I mean, go read the article on Steelers Depot because it'll break it down better than probably I can explain it in the moment. But I put it on Sean Davis, not Artie Burns. Rest of the half here, kind of teams trading punts, and then Pittsburgh's able to retake the lead early in the second quarter. Bend AB 17 yards. Again, I thought Fiedner did a great job of getting AB free. They move him in the slot a ton, put him as a number 3 receiver, made coverages difficult for New England, gave AB the whole field to run his route tree, and just a little switch vertical to get him down the seam, and a well-placed ball from Ben. AB finishes the play.
What did you think about that back shoulder catch by Juju after, on the right sideline on 2nd and 14 to help overcome a DeCastro holding call on that?
Yeah, and that's just Ben having trust in Juju. And I was surprised because usually the way Belichick plays this is he'll bracket AB with his second best corner, and then he'll get help over the top, and then he'll put his best corner, Stephon Gilmore, on your second best guy, so you have both guys taken away. But most often in this game, you saw the rookie J.C. Jackson on Juju. So you have Juju against a rookie cornerback. That's a matchup, of course, you're going to take advantage of. And it was just a lot of, throw deep, side adjustments, trusting Juju to make the play. Now, Jackson made a couple of plays on his own. But, that's a matchup you want to take advantage of. And Juju just continues to impress with his combative catches and making the high degree of difficulty balls.
I think one of the things that sticks out about that drive, or a couple things that sticks out about that drive, 92 yards. You overcome an early holding call. Yep. in that was huge, and they never faced a third down during that drive either. So a lot of 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and that gives you a good feeling there. Now I did think the pass interference on Jones against Eli Rogers was a little bit of a ticky-tack call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the Patriots probably didn't get the calls that just maybe they're normally used to getting. I don't know, but again, it was Steelers did not run the ball on that drive at all, right? I think maybe the first play on the first play, was it with the holding? Was that a run? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was the Ryan Switzer.
Oh, right. But then after that, it was all passes. So again, we talk about balance, and there's a time and a place for it, and then you want to be effective when you run the football. But you do what it takes to move the football, and passes the rest of the way. Juju for 22, Juju for 9, Eli for 6, James Washington for 9, pass interference call, AB for 17 for the score. That's what I care about. Be efficient moving the football. That's what the Steelers did in this game. Run, pass, that just be effective.
Imagine the horror of the media to have so few runs run in the first half like that by the Steelers.
Or, the Patriots go 5 plays? I think 6 plays.
Yeah, but they started to run the ball. They started to run the ball a little bit better in that instant with Sony Michel, and they were starting to gouge the Steelers a little bit. And then it got to let's see, the 3rd down and 10 on that drive, I think, is when a little bit of pressure there. And is that the one that Brady threw?
It was a check down to James White.
The check down to James White for 6 yards, and they covered that up. I think Sean Davis covered that up real quick there. So finally, it's good to get a stop in those situations before that drive gets out of hand.
But then New England, to their credit, and this is the hallmark of a Bill Belichick coach team, a special teams coach, they make, to me, the best special teams play I've ever seen, downing the punt inside the 1 with Matthew Slater and Rex Burkhead looking like some circus group of keeping the football out of the end zone and downing at the 1. Tomlin challenges that one, and I guess it looked a little bit closer than what I initially thought, but what a bad challenge. I don't know who's giving Tomlin that information to try to challenge that, but he was never going to win it.
I mean, it was close, but I never even in the live or in the immediate replay after, no part of me said, that's going to, challenge that. To me, that was just and look, he's said in the past, he goes off a gut sometimes, and his what is that, 10 challenges in a row now?
That's what Twitter told me.
That he's failed on there. So yeah, you hate to see that, and then obviously you hate to see, them what happened on that next drive.
And that was Ben's interception. Now, 99-yard drive that you get to the Patriots 46. You're thinking, hey, if you could score here, not a lot of time left for the Patriots at the end of the half. You go up 21-7 in the halftime, you're feeling really good. But Ben, trying to throw that out to Juju over his head. Harmon, a Patriots killer, picked it off. Just kind of a bad decision and a bad throw, I thought, from Ben.
Absolutely.
So, but Steelers defense responds. Sudden change, great job by them. You get a 3 and out. Patriots throw 3 straight passes, only get 5 yards on it, and Pittsburgh has a chance again, but have to punt. And
was that 3rd and 5, the incomplete short right to White? Was that the one where Watt got pressure and then that throw was a little bit behind White? I mean, kind of qualified, I think, as a drop there maybe, but Watt helped force. No, wait. No,
that was earlier in the game.
Right. This is the one where Vince Williams has the coverage down the right sideline on Watt there. So definitely a good 3 and out there by the Steelers defense.
Yeah, I think Vince Williams was the 3-down guy in this game, and that surprised me. I'll have to see what the snap counts are. You'll have to whenever you post them, but I don't think Fort played a ton. Vince became the 3-down guy. Boston played in base. I think Fort was kind of a nickel-only kind of guy. So I'm curious what the decision was there, but it worked out. So all's well that ends well. But yeah, you go into the end of the half here.
Just to interrupt you real quick there. Vince Williams played 59 of 62 snaps in the game. LJ Fort played 3 defensive snaps.
That was it, just 3.
3.
Wow. What did Bostic have? 25?
Bostic had 15.
15, yeah. Wow, I'm curious what that decision was to have Vince because Vince became the 3-down guy. I didn't realize Fort played that little, but.
And that's another thing that makes you curious. Why James? Because of that. Because why wouldn't James Watt try to be used more? At least on a couple of wheels. You'll try to get situations where you get Vince Williams maybe singled up. Some with Watt. With White.
Yeah, the running backs were not an impact in the passing game, and that's one of the also surprising stats. Because if you figured Gronk's not getting involved and Josh Gordon's not getting involved, 1 catch for 19 yards, the backs are going to be involved. Did they even try to throw a screen pass this game? So, but it worked out, and hats off to Pittsburgh for that game plan because they did some different stuff, and a lot of it paid off. So you go into the half. Anything else in the first half to talk about? It really, Patriots tried to drive late. You stopped them short at the 32, at the Patriots 32 on that kind of play where Patterson wrangled out of the tackle from Hilton and Hayden, but was short, and they reviewed it. And then you have the end of the half when it looks like they're going to go for it on 4th and 1. Belichick rushes his punt team out there. Steelers stay with their defense. What did you think of that situation? I know Twitter was kind of mad about it. I wasn't as mad about it as other people were.
Yeah, I was. When they started that fire drill, I think I would have called timeout there. But if you do that, you burn a timeout, maybe that entices them to go for it then.
Right. That was my approach of, okay, they're punting it. Yes, the situation kind of sucks. And yes, I think Belichick certainly got the best of Tomlin in that moment. But they're punting it. You're going to go into the half with the lead. I'll take it. So it wasn't the prettiest moment for Tomlin, but I can live with it because at the end of the day, Patriots are punting. You're going to the half with the lead. I'll take it. That's my approach, at least.
All right. Of course, the kneel down follows. So, we talk. I wrote about ahead of this. Man, the Steelers need to steal a couple of possessions in this game, and it felt like the Patriots were the ones that were stealing the possessions here.
Yeah, getting the turnovers, giving them extra possessions. So hats off to the defense for being strong in sudden change. But I thought another great defensive stand was the Patriots to open up the start of the second half, where they go, I think, 6 plays, but they have to punt, and to get that punt early and to get the ball back in the offense's hands, I thought was really critical. Steelers put together a nice drive. That James Washington kicked things off with that 32-yard catch. Again, finding him 2 plays later for 24 more yards. Samuels running the ball effectively, a 14-yard gain. You got 1st and goal on the 4. Again, you're thinking offense. Finish the drive. Red zone offense has been so strong. You get stuffed on 1st down. The intentional grounding on 2nd and goal. Incomplete on 3rd and goal. Vance couldn't get both feet down. Chris Boswell comes out, 32-yarder. Oh, it hurts, Dave. It hurts so much. Misses it wide right. And Ardainer Valente was there and said Boswell had really struggled to the open end of the field, and that was to the open end, and he pushes it wide right.
I did not have a shocked look on my face when that when that thing went sailing way to Harrisburg. I was not shocked one bit. I said last week, or at the end of last week, don't come crying to me, when this happens. Here's the thing. What do you do with him now? I mean, he made it, it's time to interrupt this podcast to bring you your weekly What Should the Steelers Do with Chris Boswell segment, brought to you by mybookie.ag.
Oh, don't do that to him. Don't lose that sponsor.
But, I mean, look, this is damaged goods. And I know he made he redeemed himself somewhat with a longer field goal later in the game. But how much longer? You're asking for it. I mean, he is damaged goods right now. Do you think he's fixed because of him making the one after? What do you do with him right now?
I don't think he's fixed just because he made the 48-yarder. I think that again is a sign of his confidence and mental toughness, and that's a positive thing. It's not the say-all end-all. I think you have to keep him, though, because what other options do you have? The guy they were going to sign, Kai Forbath, is now kicking in Jacksonville. So you really don't have any other options at this point, this late in the season. Are you going to bring somebody in to deal with Heinz Field in December? I know you're playing New Orleans this upcoming week, but for Cincinnati and a potential playoff run, as much as it sucks, you keep the guy.
All right.
What do you do? I know you're trying to cut him.
I cut him. I cut him. I've been worried about him since, I don't know, week 3 or whatever it was, 5. He's gonna miss another one. I just hope it's not a big one.
Well, if Forbath was available, I might tend to agree with you, but I mean, it's like Matt McCrane is what you're going to go with, and he's only had a handful of NFL kicks. So I think you just ride with Boswell and you deal with it in the offseason. But anyway, so Patriots get a chance to tie the game up. They get a big pass interference on Joe Hayden, probably the one real negative play that he had in this one on 3rd and 16 on a play he probably didn't need to make. It would have likely been incomplete even if Hayden wasn't there. So that negated the TJ Watt sack, and I was happy for Watt to get that sack because he got pressure all game long and was schooling the right tackle Marcus Cannon, and then finally gets home. You're thinking 3rd and 16, Patriots 29, getting off the field. Hooray. Doesn't happen. But Steelers defense does hold, forces a field goal, and keeps it 14-10. So again, situational football, 3rd down, red zone. Steelers won defensively in both those areas, and to me that was a critical difference in the game.
Yeah, holding them definitely to a field goal there after giving up a 3rd and 16 silly pass interference on that, and then them being able to run and milk. It was kind of a big turning point in the game because they were able to milk a lot. They played keep away from the Steelers offense at that point. We talked at the top of the show how the Steelers really only had 3 true possessions in the second half. This drive was a main reason because of that.
Yeah, that drive went from 8:32 in the 3rd quarter to basically the end of the 3rd quarter. So they played ball control, kind of flipped the script on what Pittsburgh did in the first half. And again, the Steelers didn't do themselves any favors by 3rd and 6 on the next drive at midfield. Another pick by guess who, Deron Harmon again. This one was a little messier. you're trying to run this rub route with AB coming under Eli Rogers. Eli couldn't get off of press coverage, and it bunched everything up. Ball gets tipped, and of course the Patriots pick it off. Their secondary just have good ball skills, and that's why they get the turnovers they get. So kind of a fluky thing, but an ugly play nonetheless.
Yeah, it really looked like the timing was messed up on that because Eli couldn't get depth on that.
Yep, that seemed to be the issue there. And then,
what are you thinking at this point? 14-10, about to start the fourth quarter here. When the Steelers get the ball there after the kickoff, you're thinking, man, they got to get a score here. If they don't, well, you can't let teams like this hang around. And then when you throw an interception, Roethlisberger's second of the game at that point. And then you don't have any turnovers. You're not stealing any possessions there. You're thinking, oh, Lord, here it comes.
Yep, I was real nervous. I tweeted that out after the second interception. I said, beating the Patriots when you're -2 in turnover ratio is a minor miracle. And that, so I was not feeling super confident. And then they get down to the 5-yard line, first and goal from the 5. You get the holding call. And then Joe Hayden with the Christmas miracle, the interception. Brady trying to throw the football away. Just Hayden, great job to high point that one, keep his feet in bounds. He credits Antonio Brown for kind of teaching him how to play the sideline. So it was just one interception, but I've never been so happy to see an interception since James Harrison ran 100 yards a long time ago.
And I went back and looked at all the, and it didn't take me long, all the Tom Brady interceptions this season. And that by far was, he had, I think 3 of them so far this year that went in and out of his own players' arms. And then I think a few other. I think he threw a bad one against the Vikings where the ball kind of came out late. And I think who was it, Kendricks or somebody got him underneath there. That might have been up until last night his worst interception of the season. But I think that one last night was just that's those are type of we saw him take that sack late last week. Late in the game last week that he shouldn't have taken, where I think he didn't know the down situation there. And then you turn around and you see him throw. It's very un-Tom Brady-like. And that was a big mistake on his part. And in the past, we've seen the Steelers not be able to take advantage and corral some of these bad mistakes. And luckily, Joe Hayden did. And that was a big, obviously a big. Anytime you get a red zone interception, is a huge can be a huge turning point in the game, and it was.
First interception by Steelers DB against Tom Brady since Chris Hope in 2005. The first by Steelers corner against Brady since Ike Taylor and Deshae Townsend in 2004. So a long time coming for that one, and couldn't have come at a bigger moment. And then to the Steelers' credit, you play a lot of ball control themselves, starting on 1st and 10 on their own 4. Again, Vance McDonald only had 2 catches in this game, but they were 2 critical catches. The touchdown on 3rd and goal in the first drive, then an 8-yard catch on 3rd and 7 on your own 7-yard line to run that out route. Felt like they probably should have got the ball advanced a little bit more working against Patrick Chung, but what a deal that was for Kevin Colbert to trade for Vance McDonald to move down 20 picks, I think it was. That's a trade that probably doesn't get talked about as much as it should.
Yeah, and obviously it was criticized heavily at first last year because of McDonald and his health issues. So as long as that guy stays healthy, and he has for the most part this year. I mean, we did the old what if during what if with McDonald for most of training camp and the preseason there. If only his middle name became If Only. Well, we're getting to see If Only in action there. I mean, if the guy stays healthy, he can produce for sure. Roethlisberger obviously on the same page with him right now as well too. And the you had the pass to Samuels for what a play that was, right? With Roethlisberger buying time. I mean that goes on the Ben being Ben highlight film right there. Him buying some time, creeping out to his right. Jaylen Samuels, he's learning. Kudos to these guys learning how to play backyard bin ball.
Yep.
and he gets a release there, and Ben fies him. Tony Romo was so excited about that completion as that ball's in the air there. But kudos to both guys making a play there on a 3rd and 9 situation, because if you have to, you're at your own 26. If you're punting it back right then, that's definitely not an ideal situation to be in, and luckily they moved the chains in that instance. They continued on down the field there, and they ended up, even though that young cornerback Jackson made a great play on the 3rd and 6 on the deep pass to Juju down the right side. Man, I thought Juju should have had that, but it was a great play by the defense there. At least the Steelers got some putos off of that when Boswell hit that 48-yard field goal.
Yeah, big kick for him right down the uprights, and that was to the close end, and that's apparently where he kicked better from. Just 2 quick thoughts with the seamless catch on that 3rd and 9. Again, a lot of good on that play, Ben Samuels, but I have to start with the offensive line, giving Ben all the time in the world. There must have been 5 seconds from snap to throw on that one, so that's the O-line. That's going to go on their highlight reel for sure. And then honestly, that 3rd and 6 to Juju, that end zone ball, I didn't have a problem with that throw. I don't think that was the first read. I think it was supposed to go somewhere a little bit shorter. Nothing was available. By the time Ben threw it, there was pressure in his face. You can't take a sack there. So I have no problem with the throw to Juju. You're going to work on a rookie corner. I'll trust Juju to try to make a play. Didn't happen. Jackson made a fantastic play on the football to rip it out. But I have no problem with the throw on that one.
Before we break down the Patriots, final possession here, folks, sure, watching football is fun, but it's more entertaining when you have some action on the games. Like maybe you had the Steelers plus 3.5 points last night, and maybe hopefully you weren't like that guy that opened up the Rivers Casino, right?
Bet against them.
Yeah, that guy's down like 10 or 11 K right now. It's gonna make for a rough Monday for him. But yeah, sure, watching football is fun, but it's more entertaining when you have some action on the game. Guys and girls, you've heard me talking about this for weeks, and some of you are still on the sidelines. Whether you're an expert or a rookie, you should be betting at mybookie.ag. If you're the kind of guy or gal that likes to bet a little and win a lot, like playing the numbers on the roulette table, you can create a big parlay. Pick 3 teams to win. If you hit all 3, you can turn $100 into $600 due to the odds. There's so much to bet on: college basketball, football, NBA, NHL, custom props, even esports, you name it, mybookie.ag has it. MyBookie is the one bet I know you'll be happy with all year. I personally recommend these guys because I really trust them. MyBookie has been in business for years. They've got great online reviews, and their mobile site is super easy to use. Sign up now, and MyBookie will give you a 50% deposit bonus to jumpstart your bankroll. It's a great way to bank even more money when you win. Also, make sure you are following MyBookie on Twitter at BetMyBookie. Tom, you heard about them on the Terrible Podcast as well, too, when you jump on and follow them. They personally respond to every mention in direct message they get, not to mention that they've given away more than $10,000 in free money to their followers so far this football season. You'll be the first to know as soon as new odds and props are posted by following them on Twitter at BetMyBookie. Don't miss out right now on one of the best weeks to bet on sports this year. Log on to MyBookie right now and use promo code TERRIBLE, the way kind of Tom Brady was in that final drive there. Get 50% deposit bonus. That's promo code TERRIBLE. You play, you win, you get paid. Tell me about that final Patriots drive, Alex.
Yeah, what was your level of confidence? Do you think the Patriots were going to tie it up?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
They hit that 34-yarder to Edelman. The Steelers are playing like spot drop zone coverage, and I'm just like, oh, Keith Butler, you've been doing so well. Don't. Let's not end it this way. They get down to the Steelers 11, just kind of hitting. That's when they finally got White involved. 3 straight completions to James White to get him down to the Steelers 11. You get the holding call on check, Mason. Credit to Stephon Tuitt. He forced Mason to hold him, and it forced the holding call to push him back to 2nd and 15. Trying to throw a couple end zone balls to Gronk, well covered. And then the final play, 4th and 15, Brady just throwing it over Edelman's head. Burnett breaks it up. In that game. So, again, I thought a good game plan, aside from that 34-yard completion on that drive, of doubling Gronk, of not making anything easy, keeping everything in front, getting some pressure, and just enough to win the game.
Exactly. Let's go to the email machine here. Question after you watch. Let's see. This is from I don't know. He didn't leave a name here, I don't think. Great job again this year with the analysis and coverage. I missed the game and only caught about 20 plays on my phone while at a wedding. Oh Lord,
Oh,
you must love them people, man. Who has a damn wedding on football Sunday? He writes. I can't remember last game I didn't see. Might have been the Terrell Pryor Oakland game. Anyway, what did we do differently schematically that we were so successful today? Not just versus New England, but to hold any team to 10 this day and age is great effort. Please explain on the podcast. Have you gone through the all 22? Obviously, we haven't gone through the all 22 yet, but I think we hit on Dan Orlovsky hit on this earlier. I think they paid a lot of attention to making sure that they use both their safeties in kind of a two deep setting, if you will, to make sure those guys kind of stayed covered over the top and almost dared the Patriots to let one of those other guys, Hogan, White, Gordon. Why didn't we see Gordon get a little? Why didn't Cordell Patterson? Why didn't they use him a little bit more in this game? I think that was the crux of what they did there. Obviously, we talked about they left Vince Williams on the field a little bit more there, and like it or not, the Patriots did drop some key passes in this game as well too. So Alex, how would you answer that?
no, I think you summed it up well. All those reasons plus the penalties that stalled out some of their drives, and again, you hold a team to 10 points. It means you're playing good red zone defense. 0 for 3. You get the turnover, the interception by Hayden. You get the 4th and 15, the incompletion there, and the other one you hold them to a field goal. So you want to know how to hold a team to the 10 points. You play good red zone defense. Patriots went 0 for 3. That's how it's done.
All right, John Foster here writes us, keeping it succinct here. How much does Samuel's performance say about Bell? 142 on 13, 14 carries. James, he's talking about James Conner looks like a Pro Bowl for most of the year. Williams led the league in rushing during Bell's 4-game suspension. Talking about D'Angelo Williams. Is Bell really that good, or is it a good old line, a good fullback, a respect for other blah blah blah? Ben, ability to extend plays. That keeps padding Bell's numbers during his career. Think about Jay Sam on that third down on the right sideline. Play was there because of the time the line held and been improvising. He says don't address this on email until the podcast, until after the season, because about the whole Bell saga and all. But look, I think we've answered this already. But look, Bell is a great back. Now, I'm not going to take shots at Bell. He is like I said earlier in the show, he's a great all-around back. But I think you're right. I think a lot, with the line, with Ben's ability to improvise. Both these kids and Connor and Samuels have come along nicely this season on top of it. It's going to be interesting to see Samuels. I think as Alex and I talked on the last show, the jump that he makes from rookie season to second season. We saw Connor just get in tremendous shape. And obviously his knowledge of what the Steelers were asking him to do grew as well. So I think that's a big part of it as on top of it. It just goes to show you that the running back position can indeed be fungible there, and paying a guy $14 or $15 million, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spend much time on it, but Bell's a great back, and other running backs can succeed in this offense. They're not mutually exclusive statements in my mind.
The game clock after the Samuels run, I haven't had even a chance to look at this or research
Me neither.
it. He wants to know, he has a question about the game clock following Samuel's run with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Samuels gained about 20 yards, and there was a defensive holding call on the play, which the Steelers declined. Samuels was clearly stopped inbounds. When the ball was spotted, the play clock started, but the game clock did not. The Pats did not call a timeout either. Why did the game clock not run? It looked to me like the Pats got a free timeout, but no one on TV, Twitter seemed to blink. You know what, Glenn? I haven't even looked at that. And Alex, obviously you have it there. We'll look at that and maybe we'll have a better answer. So this one's kind of caught me flat-footed here.
Yeah, I don't know the reason why it stopped. People asked me, I couldn't tell you.
All right, any other kind of closing thoughts on this, Alex? I mean, obviously, like we said, a great win. We're not going to take anything away from it. The thing, would have liked to see the offense put more points on the board. Would have liked to seen the Steelers defense not give up that busted coverage to Hogan, but they did a great job elsewhere. In fact, the Patriots had 3 explosive plays all game, and 2 of them came in the fourth quarter to Edelman, with the other one going to Hogan on the 63-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I just thought it was a total team effort. Offensively, I mean, so many guys got involved, from big names like AB catching a touchdown to James Washington redeeming himself to Eli Rogers playing his first game. Defensively, you got it from a lot of places. Hayden, Hilton, Watt, Vince Williams. I thought too, and Hayward played well. You just got the needed level of play from 50 guys, or not 50, but 46 guys. And that's the difference. That's how you got to slay the dragon. It's a total team effort. So hats off to them for playing clean with the penalties, being efficient in the red zone, being forcing the Patriots to be inefficient with their red zone offense. Just a total team effort.
One of the main takeaways for me: Steelers had 7 explosive plays. James Washington had 2 of them, and Samuels had 1, 2, 3 of them.
Second most rushing yards by a rookie in franchise history for Jaylen Samuels. Only Bam Morris had more back in '94. So more than Bell, more than Connor, more than anybody else besides Morris. So hats off to Samuels. That was a great turnaround performance.
I wonder if he wins AFC Offensive Player of the Week. And then the Steelers. And when was the last time this? Well, I guess maybe Williams and Bell did it last time the Steelers had 2 running backs in the same season when AFC Offensive Player of the Week. I can't remember both. I think both Bell and Williams did that a few years ago there. But maybe that's something to watch for this week. Obviously, the Steelers now get ready to play the New Orleans Saints on the road next week. And, it'd be interesting to see if they can continue this. I mean, we said before this game it would be so Tomlin and Steelers like for them to run the table here. They obviously got it done against the Patriots. We'll see if they can get it done against the Saints. Thankfully, the Ravens will have a tough game against the Chargers next week, and then I think the Ravens close out against the Browns right after that.
Yep.
So a couple of toughish looking games for them. We'll be back on Wednesday to start breaking down the Saints game. Have a Saints beat writer on. Hopefully, we'll give you some more kind of closing thoughts on what happened in the game against the Patriots there. Celebrate the win. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. You can follow Alex Kozora on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for listening to the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.